Hello and welcome to the Secret Store Central Bunker inside of Renshaw Field for our post-game football show. The Huskies opened their season with a bang, beating Central Connecticut 59-13. Graham, it did not start off amazing, which did lead to fear, consternation, anger, maybe some steps. But the Huskies settled down. They actually started dominating. In due time, they were up multiple scores. It was a blowout by halftime. How are you feeling after the Huskies' dominant performance in this season opening win?
I feel good. I feel like it went the way I kind of thought it would. I did think that Central might have put up another score at least. If they didn't get that first drive out of the way from they're starting at the UConn 3, like they might have only got that one. Overall, you got a lot of guys out there today. A lot of guys getting some meaningful reps, and I think that's huge, even if it's just some of the true freshmen we saw out there towards the end of the game. Like, anytime they can get any sort of reps that's outside of practice and you're winning, you're doing good. So it's great that they won by 46, but you also feel like they have plenty to go back into the film room and talk about this week, and Jim Mora and his staff can be like, you guys, it wasn't actually that good, right? You have plenty of film to show that, and that's great going into Syracuse.
Yeah, I'll put my hand up. I thought this would be a closer game. I thought even though UConn would dominate really both sides of the ball, I still thought, yeah, Central might get one or two more scores up, but really their only touchdown was the possession at the very beginning, where they were gifted the ball at the UConn's 5-yard line on the first possession. Again, tense moments. You had on the next possession, holding penalty on UConn's kick return, false start, pushing them back even further.
Yeah.
And then you had a touchdown taken back, long touchdown run by Terrence Smith, taken back. So we're starting to feel worried about penalties. Thankfully, Skylar Bell, our hero, enters the game. Well, he was already in the game, but our hero enters the show and really makes a play with that 80-yard touchdown. That was a quick side pass by Joe Fagnano that Bell took all the way. His playmaking is going to take UConn places, I think.
Yeah, and that's just Skylar Bell being, a potential NFL receiver going up against, your, no disrespect, your average run-of-the-mill FCS DB. That's just the way it is. You get Skylar Bell out in space, and you got to make an open field tackle, and that's really hard to do. In some of my previews, I was saying, Joe Fagnano just has to do exactly that. Just get the ball to Cam Edwards, get the ball to Skylar Bell. He does it, and he does it well. But you don't have to do anything groundbreaking. In the pass game, just get the playmakers the ball, and Skylar Bell took care of it, as did Cam.
Working so well. Bell had caught a second touchdown and an amazing over-the-shoulder catch to set up Fagnano's touchdown run. And, talking about explosive plays, we had Cam Edwards' 73-yard touchdown run, Mel Brown's 49-yard rush to set up the second Skylar Bell touchdown. Grim, we had 8 receivers catch a pass of 16 or more yards on this day. I'm almost fairly certain that has never happened, but that's a pretty good, no matter what the opponent is, that's a really good sign for UConn. And thinking about the other receivers, we saw some guys besides Skylar Bell get in the action as well.
Yeah, it was great to see Romello Murphy get a touchdown today. He's a transfer in from ODU and from Arizona. He was wide open. He might have had a touchdown even play or two before that. Pass was a little behind him. Today I was kind of thinking, in terms of who might break out as a receiver. It was either going to be Chris Parker or it's going to be Murphy. And I think, we didn't see Parker a lot till towards the end. So I think that kind of gives us an idea of, who the coaches are seeing as that third receiver behind Porter and Bell. But Cam Edwards, that was an absurd, 19.2 yards per carry. He had 6 carries for 115 yards. Are you kidding me? But that's what you want to see. These guys, these running backs are so far and away from your average FCS team. And I know it's been, last year was great against Merrimack. Before that, it had been a decade before they really showed they were different than an FCS team. So I think we kind of forgot about that. This is what it's supposed to be, actually. Our best players are supposed to be much better than their players. And, that's just exactly what happened today. There's really no other way to recap it.
Yeah, I think the last Central Connecticut game here, I think it was like 28-3, which seems like a big score.
Right.
UConn did not dominate.
It was 14-3 headed into the fourth quarter.
Yeah,
A couple late touchdowns there, but it was touch and go.
So just great way to start the season for UConn. Take a lot of confidence into next week's big game at Syracuse. Let's talk about some opportunities for improvement, though. I mean, I think the defense held up fairly well, all things considered, but there were some breaks. So what do you think are some opportunities for improvement?
I think we want to see a little difference on the defensive line, especially getting some pressure. Just one sack today on Central, and CCSU traditionally has a good offensive line for who they are and where they play. But I expected a lot more out of the defensive line, especially from guys like Ben Smiley, and it just there were some plays where Brady Olson was just camped back there and did whatever he wanted to do. Maybe not whatever he wanted to do, because he didn't, but he had plenty of time to throw, I guess is what I'm saying. And next week, Syracuse, you can't do that. Even today, Syracuse played, Tennessee lost by 22, I think it was. They have John Tay Cook from Texas, who's a tremendous athlete, and Steve Angeli, the quarterback, and if you give them time, John Tay Cook will get open and he will make you pay. So really need to see a lot more pressure on the backfield. Secondary was a little iffy at times today. We had some blown coverages.
Some guys
interestingly, Aman Brinson didn't have any tackles, which is curious. He had 2 pass breakups, but no tackles. It's good and it's bad, because you don't want your safeties are your leading tacklers. That usually means guys are getting to the second level. But yeah, there was just some moments today. It was more about vibes, I'll say. Like, you look at the stats, they didn't give up a lot, but there were a lot of plays where you're kind of like, all right, well, they could have done this, they could have done that. There's a missed tackle here, a missed tackle there. There was one, I think it was Latu tried to hit stick someone, and he didn't hit stick him, and then they ended up carrying that dude another 10 yards close down to the goal line. It's like, these are just things that have to get cleaned up, and they got plenty of film this week to hammer that point home.
Yeah, Mora said, if he was Syracuse watching this film, he'd be really, wide-eyed at how vulnerable UConn looked running the ball against the run, particularly up the middle. Yep. Jim Mora, from the mouth of Jim Mora, saying that's probably the thing that he was most concerned with after the game, aside from the bad start, which was, again, indicative of some, a lot of reasonably bringing up fear and concern. But sure. Good on the Huskies for overcoming that. Yep, the defense, again, a lot of new pieces. Hopefully they look a bit more together next week. And yeah, I agree with you about the secondary. Still a bit to work out. Not a final product, but that's why they play the games. Hey, after week 1, all of the last few seasons, we've been pretty beaten up, pretty down. Positive end to week 1. Excitement, hype heading into week 2. What more can you ask for UConn football? Thank you all for watching.